if I only have $20 to help out with somebody and I'm walking in a public place and I go, can I help her today? Can I help him today? And they're standing over there, just nasty looking face, and they're just mad and angry. I ain't going near them. But when I see somebody, when I walk by someone and I say, how you doing today, man? And they go, man, I'm really just trying to get through this the best I can. I can deal with that. But when they start snarl at me and dropping the F-bomb and everything, I'm out, and that is going to determine how long they stay out there, is how long it takes them to just recover themselves, isolate themselves from the group, and remember their own goals for the future, and then take charge.
And,
homeless or not, it's the same advice.
I was just going to say, as I'm doing, we talked a little earlier, I'm going to do this success killers. I feel like what you've been talking about, that homeless, they do continual things that kill success. And some of the habits, the beautiful synopsis that you just did is really that is the pattern to get into how to be successful. That morning routine, finding a way to focus on what you want, finding ways to be happy and satisfied and content for what you have right now, and appreciate everything. And that will bring you a different attitude. And that's what I hear you really talking about, finding a different attitude to present to the world. And that's how you're going to be looking for that person to help. And then, one of the things I've seen as I worked with a medical group that would have us go out and work with homeless that were just using the ER for medical care and not really going to their, routine or appointments or, using the real medical system that was meant to be. I would find people, one in particular woman, I remember she had a cell phone, and we could find her a place to live because each community truly has low income housing that you would pay a third of your income or your disability check or whatever it is you get. So there is places to go, but she would choose to get her nails done. With pedicure, rather than spending it on her rent, so there was some choices that I would see that some people would choose for their habits that would not truly get them on that road to success. But hey, we all have free will. We all have choices about that. And you talked about that last time, taking responsibility for where do I want to go and how do I want to go? And, it's just interesting. Sometimes I would, think a lot of the public would feel sorry for somebody that's homeless, or some would blame them.
Well, we should. Yeah.
And but at the same time, then blame them for the circumstances that they're in. Like this woman, for instance, I could hear some of my colleagues, she doesn't even want help. She would rather get a pedicure.
Right.
But you know what? Yeah. That is her choice. And I think sometimes we have to respect even people's choices for experiences if they do choose. Maybe this is the way they have to go through it to learn some big whatever lesson in life to get to that new place. But I just feel like taking the judgment out of that was really, really helpful for me, and saying, okay, we are here. Here's my card. Here's my number. If and when you're ready, we have places that are ready to accept you, but you've got to be willing to help us at the same time, help you.
And you have to be absolutely clear with a homeless person, like anyone else, what your boundaries are, what you would expect in return. Because if you don't set it up from day one, they're gonna make their own choices. But if you have boundaries and you set yourself with them and you say, hey, I don't take pretenders. I don't take people that hustle me. You got a couple of choices here, because I could be helping anyone. Yeah. But I don't want to lose the rest of our time. I want to make this clear to the loved ones of the homeless people.
Sure.
A lot of us know what it's like to try and help a loved one that, let's just say, is an alcoholic. And no matter how much you love them and how much you try, they keep falling off the wagon. There gets to a point in your experience, even though you love them to death, you get to a point in your experience where you realize whether or not your assistance is working, right? And loved ones and friends are the worst. It's really hard for me to just say, look, James, you've been a friend of mine for 12 years, but you ain't going to quit drinking. I can't help you no more. Okay. So we have to know where that stops. And the other thing is, I don't remember who said it, but I heard an analogy one time. And with COVID going on, I want this to be, if you never hear from me again, I want you to hear this. I heard an analogy about what hope means. Okay. And it was related something like, in the original Greek definition of the word, before it was translated all over the world, the word hope meant a strong rope secured. So if you can think of having a rope in your hand and it's secured to something really secure, you can feel safe, So when you're in the storm of life, we need to know what that rope is secured to. During COVID, me being the optimist and you being the diehard optimist, I've tried to change your mind a little bit, but you won't budge. Your optimism is glowing with you, and I love that. This rope that I'm talking about, what the loved ones need to communicate to the homeless is, we are going to get through this. We are here and we're making plans. And when we have a solution, we're coming for you. Okay. And for the rest of the world, the rest of the community, anyone that listens, and this is universal, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter. It's not just in America. Mm-hmm. Homelessness is everywhere. Mm-hmm. So the universal message is, we as a global community are working on the COVID problem. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're finding vaccines. We're using masks and sanitizing our hands. Well, the homeless need to do that too. They can't just sit out there and like hug each other and be within each other's vicinity and think, well, I don't have a mask. Well, then move yourself away from your friends. You have to keep yourself safe. The thing is, I'm challenging the homeless people, maintain your safety until we get there. We're on the way. We're coming. We don't know how long it's going to be. There's mountains between us. There's oceans between us. There's police between us. When we get there, we need to find you ready, not burned out, bummed out, laying in the gutter drunk. We need to find people that are ready to take charge when we do show up. And that goes back to making choices, making decisions. And each individual, I think, hey, it was told to me one day when I was a homeless guy by another homeless person, mind you. He said, you know what, Wayne, you have to decide if you're going to make it through this or if you're just going to survive, dude. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, look at all the people that do nothing every day except stand in line. The first thing in the morning, they get up, they leave their camp and they go stand in line so they can get breakfast. At lunch, they're standing in line 2-3 hours so they can be first in line. At dinner time, they're standing in line. He said, then there's the other guy that's hustling every day, like looking for jobs, looking for a new pair of shoes, looking for a way to get a haircut, looking for a way to be presentable. And then he shows up at the last minute to get some food, but not these people. Some of them, I call it stuck in a homeless rut. And I have been working on a book. The book's not finished yet. And to be honest with you, I get so excited when I think about my book. My book is my baby coming to life. My story has grown with me as my experience has grown. And so my ability to explain not only my homeless situation, but how hard it is to capture in words what it really felt like being out there.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like, so I didn't want to write a book that was about the doom and gloom, but part of my book is about the actual homeless experience that I witnessed and how my eyes were opened about the society we live in from the homeless point of view. And now that I'm back on the other side, I see the homeless community as if I used to be one of them, but now I see it from my point of view. Now I'm a homeowner. I've got a solid job. I'm remarried. That was something that, Joanne, I thought in 2007, I just made up my mind. I was perfectly fine with living a hermit life because what kind of a woman would love me, right? Well, the woman I found actually is a love story come true, but she compelled me to make some of those rough edges I had to polish, And so, but learning about my mental disabilities, my not really disabilities, but disorders, mine were intense. Not everyone has the intensity of bipolar depression and anger problems that I had. And so the next part of my book is let's explore these mental health issues in truth, not labeling and putting everybody in categories, because bipolar depression for me doesn't explain the experience you might have had or someone else might have had. So in my book, I'm really trying to dive in, and I need more help with this. This is bigger than me. And so then the last part of my book, probably, it's going to have to be split, because right now it's like 300 pages, but there's like 3 books in a series. I think I could split it out. But the last part of the book is called Life Skills. And the subtopic is just as important as food, clothing, and shelter. And almost every podcast of yours I've listened to, and the messages I keep hearing you say, our mental health is just as important as our physical bodies, right?
Yes.
Your attitude of optimism can go so much farther than just needing something because they're homeless or pathetically sad. So it's not out yet. And I'm not going to tell the title, because then there'll be 10,000 books with my title this year. But, if people keep up with me on my website, upcoming, called acrossthemiles.org, there's going to be some portals in there with other homeless people. And what I'm really fascinated with is these homeless sketch artists that are out there. They sit around for hours practicing their craft, but oh man, I'm getting some goosebumps even on my legs right now. When you look at some of these people's artistic drawings of what they're experiencing as a homeless person, they're putting into words in a sketch drawing, a story in a sketch drawing that you can't explain in words. You can just see the emotional part of what they're experiencing. And the majority of people I want some of these homeless people to send me some of their work so I can put it in my book. It's going to be pretty fascinating.
Great. Yeah.
But the majority of the artwork I see, the message that they portray is forgotten, left out, excluded,
invisible.
So if you never hear from me again, we have to find ways to include them. We have to find ways to let them know they're not forgotten. And we must continuously drop the message on them. Even if we had to stand outside the gates and throw little paper airplanes in there because we can't get close, when they open it up, we haven't forgot you. We're working on solutions. We're coming. That's the whole thing. We're coming. We're on the way. We just don't know how long it's going to take. But when we do come, we want to find respectable, healthy people out there, not people that, those that distinguish themselves as go-getters. You notice them because they actually take the time to wipe the mud off their shoes. They comb their hair. They find a way to shave. And those people, 100% of the time, those people are the ones that make it.
Yeah.
They make it.
Yeah.
The other ones.
There's a will. One of the other things you said that people could do was, create some or drop off maybe a box with some notebooks or stamped envelopes and pens, that they can write to a loved one. I thought that was really beautiful because I could imagine loved ones would really love to hear from them and really not sure where they are or what they're doing. But there's some little things that anybody could do, to be able to help. And I thought that was a nice one. Any other last thoughts that you have in other ways to help?
The biggest thing about that, I see people's just, when you can drop off, like you said, like a box full of just like them little 3-subject notebooks or something, but you put like 20 stamped envelopes in there with a little forever stamp and some ink pens. A lot of these families are separated because they can't just seem to talk it out.
Right.
And a lot of the homeless people can't come home because they just can't talk it out. But if you give them some paper, they can write it out, they can send it back to home, and the people will read their feelings without interfering on the phone. That's the biggest point of that. As soon as you get into a heated, conversation on the phone, click, hanging up the phone. But if they have a chance to tell their real heartfelt story to people that will listen, those people usually end up getting in touch and say, man, I really had no idea. I'm so sorry. Like, I judged you and I'm sorry. But another thing you can do, they get so excited when you just throw in there like random greeting cards, like random greeting cards, and nice. Not necessarily, they don't necessarily send them home. They give them to each other. You can throw in there, them little pocket size or the wallet size Valentine's Day cards.
Yeah.
You would be amazed if you sit around and watch them. Just they love doing things for each other. That's how they uplift each other. But nice. The biggest thing going is those mini books. If you go to a bookstore and you see they're like miniature books, and like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh,
they've got a mini book. And the mini book is only like 20 pages long, but it is a very straightforward outline of what the actual book is about. And my ultimate dream, to be honest with you, is, and I'm eventually going to be campaigning, looking for people to help. In Portland, Oregon, for instance, there's usually 2,000 people that sleep outdoors every night. They're always different people, but 2,000 was the number. So I want to go with collaboration with other people. And I would like to take 2,000 MP3 players, like the most economical, cheap thing we can find on Amazon, pre-programmed, preloaded with some of the most positive, outgoing messages from some of our teachers of today. You got Wayne Dyer, you got, Les Brown. Can you imagine dropping an MP3 player on some homeless guy about Les Brown? And Les Brown is like, you need to get up and take responsibility, and you need to get up and take charge of your life. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And the people that hear it and don't like it, they're going to hand it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I saw that as a ripple going out. And I would love to do a test community, but there's no way to track, there's no way to track the stats on, well, how many people did that really help? But that's they have ways, believe me or not, they have ways to access the internet, and they have ways to charge their phones. And, I know we're out of time, but I selected a homeless person just last week. I was on my way trying to make my way home. I'm going to talk really fast. I stopped into a laundromat, and there was a homeless lady sitting there. I thought she was doing laundry. She started talking, and I instantly just kind of, human to human, I just loved this lady. And I said, well, what's it going to take? I said, don't you have a phone? She took a brand new telephone box and opened it and showed me. Some guy was trying to get with her and make her his girlfriend. She didn't want it. He took her phone and just broke it right in front of her. It was an iPhone 12 that she had. Her family provided her with this phone. She had internet access. She had everything she needed to make plans, look for resources. Broke it. I said, you know what? I checked my account. I had only enough money. I went and got her a flip phone, cheap flip phone. And I put $45 on that flip phone because that's unlimited talk for the entire month.
Oh.
Long story is, I told her, I said, when I leave here, my conscience is going to bother me. Whatever happened to this Christina lady, whatever became of this lady. So I got her this flip phone, and I gave her some conditions. And over the next couple of days, she stayed in touch with me. And I told her, if you can provide me contact information with where you're trying to go, and I can talk to people in your family, I will give you a bus ticket and send you there. 2 days later, she was at home. She was 4 hours away in Georgia. And so the family, we all talked on the phone, and I told them, you have every right to be protective and safe in your family. This person may be carrying the COVID. They set up a shed in the backyard. They have a shed.
Yeah.
They cleaned it out. It has an air conditioner in the window, and they give her access to the bathroom on the first floor, but she don't have access to the house. She don't have, but she was sleeping out in the woods by the laundromat. Now she's sleeping in a shed with an air conditioner in the back of her family's home.
Oh, that's
so when they know that
story.
So when they know, hey, I'm, $225 later, I'm into this, but I know how to select people, and I know how to tell them straight up, I'm not taking hustlers. If you hustle me, we're done. if you take advantage of my kindness, because my wife even got on me about that one. She's like, $200 are into this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But part of it was I just opened my mouth and I made a commitment to her. That's what I want people to understand. I've become the respectable person that I said I was. And that's my own toot to the horn, because if you would have saw me a few years ago, I promise you, you would not have stood there to talk to me very long.
And how does that make you feel inside?
Inside, I'm invincible. I mean, not in an arrogant way. I just mean I've learned skills. And I mean, I've got notebooks. I've got a voice recorder of my own ideas and feelings as I think about things. What I mean is, no matter what I encounter now, there's only a choice few things that I wouldn't be able to handle emotionally, but those are extreme tragedies.
Yeah.
But other than that, everyday life things that we handle, I'm handling it. I'm like Clint Eastwood. I'm a gritty guy, and that's part of the message is, hey, you can't drizzle sugar on this thing and be so polite to everyone. The truth is, you have to be stern. You have to state your boundaries. You have to represent who you really are when the homeless people see you. And you know what it means? You're going to like this. I think you're going to like this, Joanne. I might make you wait for it. When you present yourself to someone like that, that becomes the attraction for them. They're attracted to you. They're attracted. They want your knowledge. They want your help. And then that becomes the mark of their responsibility. If they can be accountable to you and impress you, they will go to the end of the earth to impress you if they think you are this respectable person that's going to give it back to them. It's mutual respect in the making. You know what I mean?
That's really called a relationship.
Yeah. If you just walk up and give them a sandwich, if you give them a gift card so they can go into McDonald's, you never see them again. You're just a face in the crowd. But when you connect with certain people and you pluck them out of the ground, I call it plucking grapes. On the grapevine, there's grapes up around the top of the vine that get burned by the sun. Those are the ones you want to pluck off. And, the rest of them are protected and by the hive, But when somebody knows your boundaries and they know you're self-confident and they know you have human compassion, you're not just a kind person giving away things. They want that. And you become their mentor and you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. But it is kind of mutual respect. And that's what I'm hearing within yourself. You now have self-respect. And that sounds like what your goal was, and you achieved it with all these steps that now you want to share. So I'm so glad that we could do this today and share this. And I do hope that this can be shared. Podcasts are free, that they can be listened to in lots of different places. You can go to a library, you can go to different places and just dial into these things on your phone through iTunes and other platforms. So there are some resources out there. You just have to reach out.
It's really incredible when you walk by when you walk by a group of people sitting on a park bench and one guy is holding his cell phone out and he's playing something on his cell phone and everybody's listening. Usually they're doing that, sharing what's going on in the news. When Trump was running for president, they were holding it out there saying, this is Trump, he's going to win. Well, we can do that too with podcasts like what you got going on. It only takes one person to actually make that change in the whole group.
And that's what we're looking to do. So I
they're not as helpless as we think.
Well, thank you for
being here. It's my pleasure. I'm excited.
Sharing all this. Well, good. Well, everyone, I also want to just leave a resource of 1-888-358-2384. And I'll make sure this is also in the show notes. And I'll repeat that. 888-358-2384, which is a resource at getting help at the Coalition for Homeless. And there's also a website, coalitionforthehomeless.org, that family members can use or homeless can use to look for resources in your area. And it's by city. So anywhere you are, you can access this and find some resources. So please, please, please reach out.